Yeah, welcome back to Cannabis in Canada 2015 with Jason Wilcox. The Allard case is over. Okay, medical patients can now breathe a sigh of relief and know that no fire, no mold, or organized crime was presented in the federal courts of Canada. Now we have to just wait on the decisions. With that, we also have a decision in R versus Smith that we're waiting, and issues around extractions in children. Fundamental issues that involve Canada and North America in general. Finally, we're starting to talk about it. And somebody who's been a frontline warrior who's on today's show is none other than Cheryl T. Cheryl, welcome to the show.
Hey Jason, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. Now, for our viewers, you're the mother of Hayley.
Yes.
Hayley suffers from, I believe it was LGS. Now, can you break that up for me? Because I can't quite pronounce it.
It's Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. I believe that's how it's.
Correct.
It's a severe form of epilepsy. It's a childhood syndrome. It has multiple seizure types, difficult to control, lifelong deteriorating, including mental delays, cognitive delays. Most children don't make it through puberty. So.
Yeah, as I was researching this, now of course, we go back a lot of years. I know your story, and I can't speak enough because parents are out there suffering. They want to know what to do about my baby right now in this convoluted state. And now you were doing this for Hayley years ago.
Yeah, I was. Hayley started when she was 15 on medical cannabis, but I had been looking at it since she was 8 years old. I actually moved to California to try and find doctors that would possibly prescribe it for her because the other medications weren't working. Didn't have any luck, and I ended up taking measures into my own hands and gave her medical cannabis. We had met with Mark Emery, and we tried the Volcano vaporizer. Excellent piece of equipment. Children's Hospital actually calls it a nebulizer. So it can be used for emergency.
They allow it in the hospital?
They didn't allow it in the hospital, but they documented, and we have EEG proof from her consuming it through the vaporizer as well as edibles, that we were able to markedly reduce her seizures in 2008.
Right. Now, you've done some incredible work, because going back to this too, because I remember these times when it was first coming up, and it was just like, wow, here's this parent stepping up. Now, you were working with Dr. Paul Hornby and the Green Cross Society. You had a couple, I believe, some peer-reviewed journals done on Hayley as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, there is, Dr. Hornby we've been doing a now 7-year case study specific on Hayley. There's been multiple EEGs and reports written by both Children's Hospital that you can see actually over a long term healing. The EEGs show better. Her actual learning, she's actually starting to learn. She was reading a grade 2 level when we started the cannabis, and she now can read like the thick Narnia and stuff like that.
Now what we know about the endogenous system and what the government's finally saying, well, there might be some medical value. We're starting to really see that. So Hayley went from like 40 seizures a day. How many is she having now with the proper, with her particular strain and her right ratios that have been dialed in with the help of people like Dr. Hornby?
Well, she's actually doing really well. She goes at 17 days solid, no seizing, is her baseline, but she has what's called catamenial seizures, and that's due to estrogen and progesterone fluctuations throughout her cycling. And that we have to control the estrogen by adding in progesterone, so she does seize during that time. Nowhere near in the length and duration. We're also finding that by adding more CBD in during this time as a top-up, that it actually reduces them even more. And we've just finished doing, she was in the hospital for 3 months, and we will be having a paper written about that in the next month or two. So that'll be coming out very soon. We're very excited about it. It shows a lot of different things, very positive.
I think Dr. Sanjay Gupta really set it out about seizures in babies in high CBD strains. Now I know that Hayley's comment, now I'm jumping a bit ahead here, Hayley found a strain that worked for her, and you guys were able to patent that and dial it in, and thank God for the Allard injunction, because you're actually able to keep growing it for Hayley.
Yes.
So how has the Allard injunction impacted your life?
Hugely. We had fallen into a gap because of all the different things. With Hayley having such a very strain-specific thing, by having the ability to grow her medication, it means that we are guaranteed to always have a stable supply for her of the medicine, and that without it she will go into status epilepticus and will risk death. Unfortunately, we had to wait so many years to try it. I am a firm believer that the cannabis needs to be a frontline medicine, especially in dealing with children that it is implied that they have a severe seizure condition. It will help, and higher CBD I'm seeing is better for the younger children, and as you get older you may need a bit of THC. Mind you, a lot of children can use different, they can use THC as well, because of course that has
What would you say to the parents out there that are watching this may want to start to address this? Now, we know baby Kyla recently, the parents took a stand, and thanks to activists in British Columbia and doctors, the Ministry of Children and Family just stayed away and allowed those parents to ethically take care of their baby. But yet in Ontario, Cannabis Canada covered a case where baby Aiden, where the baby was seized because the father was just exploring the options.
What they've done in Ontario there with baby Aiden's case, it's despicable. They should be held accountable for that, and the family should be allowed to explore medical cannabis as one of the options, and any other options. We're talking about a condition that will kill you and has the potential to, and this is the medicine that can save your life and help heal you. Yeah, it's completely despicable. There needs to be a doctor that is going to step up to the table and say, hey, no, you know what, let's do this. Let's get this child an option here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have any LPs come up and offered to buy your strain and produce it for you?
Yeah.
They have, eh?
Yeah.
And what was your reaction to that?
The problem I have is that if I was not able to grow, you know, it might be a possibility, but I don't have the money to afford it from an LP. And currently, the laws around what the LPs can provide for patients is ridiculous. I can't buy that for Hayley. Then Then I have to first buy it. Then I have to prepare it into medication for her. Now, if I'm going to get a medication for my daughter, I want it to be ready. If I'm going to go out and I'm going to go get it. Otherwise, you know what? I can grow it, have it stabilized myself, and prepare it and give it to her, no problem. And I can send it into a lab. Parents don't know this. You can send your medication into a lab and have it tested so that you know what you're working with. I'm very much agree with, if you can grow your own, grow your own.
No, just for our viewers, like I'm 22 years HIV positive now.
Yeah.
I've never been sick from growing my cannabis or using it, and I hear all this talk about immunocompromised and other patients suffering. Has Hayley ever had a counter effect to using cannabis?
No, never.
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 I know it's kind of a rhetorical question between us, but I need to, for our viewers, I need to ask.
The only time Hayley has had a negative effect was when she didn't have it. Specifically her strain, and specifically when we top up her medications during her cannabis medication, that is, during her high seizure times. The only time she has ever been in danger was from it or had a negative side effect was when she wasn't able to have it.
It's funny because I was just reading in the handbook of cannabis, handbook on cannabis, that I'm reading now. It's in there they talk about the withdrawal factor of only being 10% versus other drugs. Like there's a very low fractional, because I've always said there's no addiction related to cannabis, and of course there's that makes sense. That little 10% withdrawal is actually, not only are you going to suffer more with seizures, but there's also going to be the issue that you're losing all the other benefits that the holistic plant provides. I guess in closing, because I want to talk a little bit about your foundation that you've done.
Yes.
But also in closing, I wanted to touch directly on where do you see things going now for yourself and for other parents that again want to access these cannabis strains, such as like in your case, you've got your garden. Let's just say the federal government was to take it. What sort of action would Hayley or yourself be in a position to take at that point?
I would not be able to follow an unjust law. that's all there is to it, because she would immediately, within days, she would be in status, and rectal paraldehyde will only work a few more times. I've already been warned that. She hasn't gone into status since we started cannabis and fixed her issues with her estrogen. She'll have some seizures, but only during about a 2 to 2.5 week period. And she's still functional, and we're finding even better ways utilizing the cannabis to control that even more.
Exactly. That's kind of what I'm touching on here. Is just for our viewers is what I would like to get on is the preventive medicine factor for those that want to say they're recreational. Most importantly, the holistic need for the cannabinoid profiles in relation to the endogenous system, and as it relates to holistic healthcare for patients like ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, like your daughter and like myself, that need to use these various strains. So let's talk about Hayleys Foundation. So first, you patented your strain. You know, you've got a CBD 1-to-1 ratio Hayleys Comet strain, and you've also now formed your own foundation to help other parents and kids.
What we want is we want to help promote families with low. It's very expensive. We want to see and utilize helping families who have trouble with the income. It's expensive, it costs a lot. We really want to promote low cost medicine. We want we want to connect with people. We want people connecting with people. It's when you have a child with severe epilepsy, you don't necessarily know a lot of people. You're not connected necessarily in different ways in the community. We want to help support that. We want to help parents have that. We want to help educate them with this, as well as educate the caregivers and their medical staff and stuff as to what it is, because a lot of people don't know. And I'd like to that review that's out with the College of Physicians and that.
Oh, you mean the new restrictions here in BC? That's ridiculous. Cannabis in Canada has been reporting on that as well.
That's ridiculous. I don't know who wrote that personally, but they need an education. They need some education. They're not writing something based on actual knowledge, and they really do need to.
And that's what we need to. So again, getting out there now. Your foundation, we want to get people to the policy board and talking, not outside and necessarily chanting with our signs anymore. Now it's time to get in and say, no, here's how it works medically. Here's how it's been done. You might say there's no medical value in the country of Canada for marijuana, but we're here to tell you, look, we're living examples.
Yeah, and we've already, throughout the years, we've put in protocols into the school system for oral cannabis, so it can be administered right there by the staff, whether it's tinctures, oil caps, capsules, anything that can be standardized. You just need to have it tested, and it can be given there. Also, the inhaler, at the time we did the IO-Lite vaporizer, I'd really like to get the Mighty by Volcano for Hayley for inhaling. Little plug there for them. But
there you go.
So, because those protocols can be and have been set in the school systems, in residential housing, different John Howard Society, those protocols have already been put in there. They actually at VGH, while Hayley was staying in there from February 25th to March 5th, the Vancouver General Hospital Pharmacy actually approved her medical cannabis through the foundation and was distributed by the nursing staff in hospital. Unfortunately, it's not in their protocols, so they had to stop it. But we're about to write a report on all that, and hopefully it'll be a good push in the right direction so that families can actually get the proper help. Right? There's so much knowledge out there. There's no reason for parents to be suffering like this. Families, all our loved ones.
I think nobody should be suffering any further for cannabis use. So now, Cheryl, where can people find Hayleys Foundation, and where can they find more information about you?
We are on Facebook at it says Hayley Rose Foundation. You can find it off either my page or just look it up there. We are here in Vancouver. Our phone number is 604-500-6436. Feel free to contact us. We'll be making an appearance at Cannabis Day, Canada Day, as well as we have a fundraiser that we're doing on the 28th, next week, on Thursday at the Red Room with Jay Cutta.
Ja Cutta on May 28th. And this will be at the Red Room. Special guests, One Kingdom. And it doesn't have the address. That's the only problem. So I don't know where the Red
Well,
Room
it'll
is.
be on our Facebook page.
Definitely. So
Yeah.
we'll
And
check out. Sorry, go ahead.
feel free to contact us if you have any questions or anything. We will be starting hopefully in the next month or so. We want to start doing lecture series and such, education classes for parents, for caregivers and such, and that will be coming up. You'll see that on our Facebook page soon. We're hoping to have a website soon. So
cool. All right, everybody, stay tuned for more from Cannabis in Canada. And once again, Cheryl T. Rose, everybody, pay attention for what's going on with the kids. Pay attention to what's going on in the courts, and let's keep hitting them politically, legally, and here on the ground. This is Jason Wilcox, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.